Welcome aboard. If this is your first SBS, this is the series where I will occasionally address the audience and talk to you guys directly. In the last SBS, I addressed the campaign expectations and concerns. This time I'm taking a break and looking back at what was accomplished. Before we start, I'm rapidly approaching 350 subs, and I want to thank everyone that's found me and has been following the series so far. Trust me, the quality does go up and will improve with time. These are my learning years, and I am putting my experience to the test each and every session. The start of the new season, episode 26, as of now, my goal is to release it July 14th, 2024. However, I do not take this as fact, as anything can happen between now and then. I will, however, let you know that it will be marked as a new jumping off point for people to join in on the series that haven't until then. So I will be learning as much as I can between now and then for that point, and hopefully I can get a new first impression of sorts. The reason I'm mentioning this is because a lot of people obviously have fell off from the series from episode 1 to now. That's to be expected. A lot of people don't have the patience to watch a series grow over time, but I also want to be fair to those people and give them a second chance to jump in at the series. So that's the reason I mentioned that. Firstly, I want to announce that the series will be going on hiatus until January 15th, 2023. I will then continue the episodes release every other week. In order to be transparent with you, the audience, I will be going into the main reasons for this. Number one, currently I am pretty far behind from where I wish I was in regards to the current upload. As of writing this, we are now entering the next arc after Lost Camp, episode 18. The Lost Camp arc is finished. It is my wish to be further along in comparison to what is currently public, so that I can maintain that bi-weekly upload schedule. Secondly, I believe taking a break when given the chance is important to growing an audience, as well as giving you guys, the current audience, time to catch up with the series in your own capacity. I do not enjoy it myself when I fall behind on a series and it continuously marches on. So like how a lot of the episodes are very long, a few hours apiece, and so I think giving you guys a break between 12 and 13, as well as 25 and 26, when that does come, will act as a chance to go back and listen to episodes and get caught up. There will also be a break in between the cores of each season as well as the seasons themselves. No promises, but I believe right now I'm looking at about a 6-month break from 12 to 13, and then a year break between 25 and 26. That year break is going to be on purpose, because that's going to be my new start. And I want that to feel like a new season. I want it to feel brand new. I'm going to have a lot of things different. And so that's going to be like a new beginning. Uploading the series, number 3, does draw my focus away from the current episode I am working on behind the scenes. And so taking a break from going public with the episodes does help me focus on the current episode I'm working on a lot easier. So right now I'm focused on episode 18 and finishing this season. And if I continued to upload episodes 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 in the span of working on 18, then it's going to draw my focus away from trying to make sure that I get those episodes done. 5. Lastly, and this is the most important reason, most of the series is done by me, myself, and I. Meaning that without people to help me in the areas that I need, I throw myself into my work, causing me to lose out on things that I need to stay healthy and mentally all there. I do not push myself as much as I tried to in the past, as it burned me out very quickly. If I'm not having fun doing this, then I'm not going to continue. A lot of that prelude just means that my own personal schedule I set for myself is now a guideline, as setting myself to those expectations is a path to the destruction of this campaign as a whole. That may have been a bit too much, so I'll just say that since I'm working on the series mostly alone, there's not anyone to help me with sticking to the schedule I set for myself, and then I fall behind. If you would like to come on and write for the campaign, be sure to contact me on Discord. It's YOJACK87 #0087. Yojack870087 on Discord. Lastly, stick around to the end of the video for a sneak peek into Thomas D. Lau's backstory series that has been in the works for some time. But before that, let's get into some questions from the comments on the last SBS. This question comes from Luther Wells. Luther asks, did you allow the crew to choose from different races in One Piece? If not, why? So, Luther, I hope you stuck around until now, but as you all might remember from the beginning of episode 7 and the end of episode 1, each player is going to be a different race from each other. This does not mean that each crew member will be different race, as the crew can still add on NPC crewmates, but it does mean that the player characters will each have a different skill set from each other. This is because I want the player characters to have something specifically unique to them that sets them apart from any other crew members that join, as well as from a storytelling perspective. It's interesting to have all these different races together and actually get to see and understand why they're together instead of just saying that they are together. Personally, that's not really something I've ever enjoyed about normal D&D, is the fact that you have this group of characters that start off together and you never really find out why that is or how that became to be a thing. This question comes from Marquise Woods. Marquise asks, did you allow the crew to roll if they would get a devil fruit, and if not, why? I'd like to tackle this question from different angles, multiple different angles. The first angle is that would devil fruits make their story being told more interesting? And frankly speaking, I don't think it's very interesting to allow players to roll for a devil fruit. If you roll for something bad and something that doesn't fit for your character, then it's just something you're stuck with. I don't like that as a concept. The second angle is that I want to give the players time to be their characters before introducing the concept or even the possibility of eating a fruit in the first place. Something that's overlooked in One Piece a lot is the ability to swim. That's something that I'm putting a lot more emphasis on in a world that's 90% or more water and ocean. It strikes me as strange that in the original series, not a single devil fruit user has been confirmed to have died from falling into the ocean. And when they do, Oda changes his story around to allow them to have survived. This is something I want to put more emphasis on, the threat of the ocean. The next angle I want to tackle is the Zoro-Sanji dynamic. These two characters in the original series have gotten quite far without even eating a fruit, not to mention Shanks, Roger, Rayleigh, etc. The prominence of devil fruits in One Piece roleplay is understandable considering the wide array of powers, but it's a very unnecessary aspect to a successful story, character, or gameplay, and likely feels like a crutch to building a unique encounter or character. Lastly, when it comes to a short-term campaign, I think it's fine to roll for devil fruits due to the time spent with those characters being much shorter, but this story and these characters are something I wish to be with for quite some time, and the last thing I want is any of these characters to be stuck with a power they don't want or one that doesn't fit them as a character. This last question comes from Kai, aka Player 2, aka Monroe Monkey. Why is the video 360p? I don't know, it was just something that happened. I was going to re-upload the video. I don't think it's a big deal. These SBS are basically audio only, and it wouldn't be worth the trouble. The last video was likely 360p from some visual issue in the recording, I guess, but hopefully not this time. Now to tackle the main questions from a list I put together to address some things moving forward. Number 1, what happened to Thomas' backstory video? Last SBS, I promised that I would release the backstory video in December. That did not happen, and it is not going to happen currently. The short answer is that it's currently in production. However, the actual production of it has halted. I do not have a release date at this time. However, what I can tell you is that it will likely be too long for a single video, and what I will do is turn it into a 12-part series instead when it finally does come time to upload it. A reason for its delay is that it currently isn't my desire to turn back the clock and tell the story of events that led up to Thomas's washing ashore in episode 1. It takes too much of my time. However, I have asked player 1, Riley, aka Thomas, to help me with it, and so it will continue production, but that falls onto my player's shoulder to help me with the story, not my own. Finally, I don't think you guys as an audience would prefer that I pursue something that doesn't have anything to do with the main story. Number 2, why am I taking a break if I have a team to help me put out content? In the last SBS, I made it clear that I had people helping me with this, and while yes, it is true that a few people are helping me, realistically, I am mostly the sole contributor to the continuation of this series, As of now, I have Hazard, my right-hand man that helps me with ideas and things, but when it comes to the bulk of the work I need done, he doesn't help with that. I have my artist, Apit. He is amazing at his job, and I love seeing the designs he brings to life. However, art is only one small factor in this series, and there's much more work that needs to be done. Lastly, Whatever Man is my improv sensei. He's helped me a lot with thinking on my feet. However, that can only take me so far in this series, and to me, improv is more of a break glass if needed skill. I'm the kind of DM that plans the timeline of events for each and every NPC that's relevant to the story, as well as the players and the timeline of events in their past, as well as maps of the world, going into detail about each and every island, about what I have planned on those islands. That's the kind of DM I am. Every other member of the team has left for various reasons, whether that be to designated projects not being completed, said staff member leaving the team, or a lack of communication with the staff member, any number of reasons. No shot on the people currently working with me, Hazard, Whatever Man, and Apit. You guys are great, but they aren't what I need right now in a writer. Shout out to you guys for sticking with me though. Hazard on call with me all the time. He shoots me ideas. Apit is always making sure he tells me when he's available, and he charges a great price for his stuff. And Whatever Man is always available, hitting me up and teaching me about his experience in this field. You guys are great. You guys are the bomb. Number 3. So if episode 13 is released next year, does that mean you can continue uploading every other week? That's the plan. Originally, I had planned to release the arc episodes 13 to 17 at the end of this year. However, I cannot guarantee that I will be finished with the next 2 arcs afterwards, episode 18 through 25, by that time the next year rolls around. Meaning that I believe it's in my best interest, as well as yours, the audience, to delay the release of the next arc. I know this may feel like a long time, but if I want to continue releasing content every other week, it's something that I have to do. Please bear with me through these next 6 months. Number 4, so when is the next player joining? So this answer has not changed, but I think it bears repeating here, is that player 3 will join the series in season 2, aka one of the episodes after 25. Number 5, I saw your logo at the end of Rustage One Piece D&D 2nd year anniversary. Why haven't you used it in your videos yet? That logo originally wasn't supposed to be revealed to you guys yet, but I know a lot of you guys are in the Devil's Luck Grand Fleet, and my best chance of getting that logo seen was to put it in the anniversary video. The phase I'm currently in is season 1. I'm still learning and how to be a DM, a storyteller, an entertainer, and everything else. I don't want to introduce my official logo until the next season, and I can close the book on this stage in my crew's journey as well as mine. Therefore, the new logo for my series will be used starting in season 2, aka 26, to mark a fresh new start of sorts. Number 6, is 2 hours roughly going to be the ideal time length for the episodes moving forward? So, as you guys may have noticed, each episode can vary wildly in length, from episode 6 being just over an hour, episode 10 being over 3 hours. In the past, my goal has always been to hit roughly 2-hour mark, but as we wrapped recording on the next arc, it became clear to me that the length of the episodes have gotten quite long. Episodes 16 and 17 both clock in at over 4 hours long, with episode 17 clocking in at over 5. However, I will not be cutting the episodes shorter, as I believe each episode should end not when the time reaches a certain length, but when a certain story beat happens, and that episode feels fulfilled. Meaning that from now on, each episode expect them to be longer than in the past. So to go more in detail here is that I wanted each episode to feel like a certain step in the journey, and a lot of the times when we run D&D, I do a lot of the talking and I set the scene, and my players need time to think. We hit that 3-hour mark quick. And so what I'm doing is that I'm going to string together multiple sessions, put them into one episode, and for you guys, the audience, that way you have big episodes that you can go through at your own pace. Number 7, any chance you'll get sponsored in the future? I think I'll address this now, since I'm a very, very small creator. I doubt I'll ever get sponsored considering the size of my audience right now, but that chance is still there in the future. However, with the content I'm producing, I doubt it. Nevertheless, something I will be doing in the episodes moving forward, starting in episode 18, is that I will be adding 2 breakpoints in every episode. Due to the length of the episodes, I expect a lot of people will need to click off and come back at a later time, as well as I believe it best to promote myself during the sessions to you guys. So during those 2 breakpoints in the episode, there will likely be a point where I speak to you guys directly in a similar way that I'm doing right now. Number 8, what are your goals as a YouTuber and with this series? I just want to say that I work a typical 9-to-5 job, and I don't have much time to myself to work on this series, but it's become a passion project for me. During the recording of episodes 13 through 17, it became a real challenge to keep having fun with something that was just so hard to do, especially since most of the work I put in on my own. However, I've come to terms with the fact that no matter how many people follow this series, I will still always put myself first, whether it be my mental health or time. I'd rather not get anything done today and be able to work tomorrow than force myself to work on something today and have no passion tomorrow. So I'd say my goal is to just have fun telling the story through the lens of D&D setting and gameplay, and take my time doing it. Number 9, since you're no longer 25 episodes ahead of public schedule, are you going to take a longer hiatus between episodes to try and get caught up on that lead again, or shorter ones and forget trying to keep that lead? I'm not entirely sure. My goal is to keep that 25 episodes ahead of time, but I don't think that's a reasonable ask. So I think my best bet is to just try to do the best that I can, and whether that be getting ahead of schedule or falling behind schedule, just doing the best that I can. Number 10, what happens to retcons in the story? So as I mentioned before, I wasn't sure where to put retcons at. This is a very long story, and I will mess up things from time to time. I've come to the conclusion that the best place to address retcons are in the video descriptions of the relevant episode. Be sure to always check the descriptions for retcons. Sometimes I get things wrong and I need to add in things later. Number 11, do you still edit all the episodes by yourself? As of writing this, I do all the editing on my series. My editor, Alex, has edited episodes 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, but every other episode in this series has been edited by me, up to episode 18 as of now, but likely will still be that way in the future. Number 12, is the music being too loud or not fitting going to continue? No, I actually have all the music added in post as of episode 14. This is another reason the episodes have gone up in quality, but have taken longer to produce, is that taking time to find the right music and the right sound effects for each scene takes time. Number 13, is this break really a break, or are you guys just stopping? I promise this is just a break. I actually have the next 5 episodes, the Lost Camp arc, completed, and here's proof for you right now. 3, 2, 1. Number 14, do you have any plans of uploading content during the break? So originally I had planned to upload creepypasta stories, as that's something I've been into lately, but balancing that along with pushing for the series has become too much, so I've only recorded a few episodes of that I'm not sure if I'm going to release yet. I will look into creating something, but for this break, I wouldn't promise anything in that regard. 15, so how much work goes into each episode exactly? For each episode, I have to write, record, and edit the adventure tale, the after credits, and the main sessions. So that's 3 different sessions put into one, like about 9 hours of footage I'd expect. It's more 6 to 7 probably, but condensing that down in the editing process to a reasonable length between 3 and 4 hours, hopefully. Writing the episodes themselves, so everything that you guys will see, how I describe the rooms that they go into, how I plan out the dialogue, all of that, as well as improvising on the spot, because it is D&D. I make sure to plan as much as I can so that when I'm in the session, I don't have to worry about, oh, did I foreshadow this, or did I make sure this character mentioned this, etc., etc., so that I can just run that and then go off the cusp and then go back to that. That's kind of like my DMing style. This could involve weeks to months of work for each episode depending on the content of that episode. So battle heavy episodes require me to roll some of the dice ahead of time so that I'm able to keep the flow within the session, because if I'm just sitting there rolling dice for all the NPCs and while the players are just waiting, that wouldn't be fun for anyone. Exploring heavy sessions require me to paint the picture, so making sure that I describe everything I can in the scenario so that when you're playing a theater of mind game, you help to visualize what's around you. And the sailing episodes where the cast are just by themselves and you just have the three personalities on the ship, you really have to lean into, okay, what can I give them to play off of that doesn't affect the story too much or that doesn't affect the trajectory of the campaign. Those are just a few examples of how much work it goes into, and each episode has its own type of challenges that I need to address. Thank you for listening to me address everything, and before we set sail, if you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments, and I'll address them in the next SBS for everyone to hear. To show my appreciation for you sticking around this long, I'll share with you a small piece of Thomas' backstory that we do have right now as a teaser for what's to come within that story. August 31st. 1309. This is the day everything changed. The warmness of your brother next to you. He's only 5 years old. With you being 3 years older, you find this situation to be rather confusing as you were quickly hidden away in the living room closet. Your mother and father too far away to hear anything that's being said. You cover your brother's mouth as per the instructions from your father for the both of you to stay as quiet as possible. Your brother squirms in your arms right next to you. Lowie, let go! In a hushed whisper.
Don't leave, okay? Gotta stay here. That's what Dad said.
What are they doing?
I don't know. No, don't look. Don't look. I pull him back.
You pull him back to the back right corner so he can't see out there.
Dad would get mad at us. You know he would. You know how he is when he's angry.
The two of you stand in the closet for a few minutes like this before loud knocking is heard on the front door. Peeking through the slit in the closet, you see your parents pacing around the room out of earshot. Your mother seems to have something in her hand, and before you know it, the Thomas brothers watch as their mother falls to the ground with a dagger in her chest, the blood quickly forming around her. She cannot be heard, but only seen as a smile creeps onto her face. Not a smile of malevolence, but of peace. She closes her eyes and mouths to the closet where she knows her children to be. The both of you somehow not able to hear her, but feel the words. I love you. Hawk.
I'm gonna run. I'm gonna run out there.
The lock on the closet, making it unable for you to exit it.
Then I'm gonna start screaming for Mother.
You start screaming. Hawk yelling, Mommy! Mommy! Standing above the body is a man with a dagger in his hand, blood dripping from the blade. Your father, Thomas Rhodes, stands there, face obscured as he's facing towards the door. Before the two of you are able to react, another man enters the room after the door swings open, as if it was forced ajar. No light from the outside shines into this darkness. You can't see any details of the man other than a single top hat with a ring with a strange symbol. It stands out as it shows a triangle with an eye in the middle. Suddenly, the realization of the situation hits your child brother as well. But is she... What's going on?
I think Dad just killed Mom.
He's forcing it, and he's trying to break the closet door, but it seems as though the lock is keeping both of you in. Your body feels as though it's paralyzed and you can't move. You look to your brother, standing next to you. He looks to you for guidance as he doesn't understand what's going on.
I don't know either, Hawk. I think we're trapped in here. I'm just gonna curl up in a ball and start crying.
As you curl up in the ball and start crying, you feel your body as though it's paralyzed, and the lock on the door unlocks after an unknown amount of time. And gazing up, it seems to be your father, and he reaches in, pulling your brother out of the closet, leaving you inside, closing it back. You can feel a voice bubbling up in your chest.
Why didn't you take me?
I hope you tune back in for the campaign when it starts back up again in January. Stay subscribed so you don't miss it, and the second half of the season begins January 15th, 2023. Let's set sail.